Hey everyone, Design Thinking Nomad here. Just finished installing the Gobi Stealth roof rack on our 2017 Jeep Wrangler Limited Rubicon hard rock. This is going to be a tips and tricks installation video, not the installation itself, just to help you all with overcome some of the hurdles that I experienced when I was doing the install. I know there's a video from 2012 out there. This is an updated version of that without actually showing you exactly what I installed. Let me just give you a walk around of the Jeep first, and then I'll walk through the actual install. And I ran out of time when I first did this video, so I'm going to try to hurriedly speed through the pointers for you all, and that way if you run into some troubles you'll just be able to watch this video and it should help you out. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is put on the protective covers, one for each side. They're labeled passenger and driver. Put those on, and then you have your wear plates in the back. There's a wear plate here, and there's a wear plate on the other side. When you're doing it, just make sure your wear plate is aligned with the bottom edge of your hardtop. Mine's a little bit lower on this side, but it's perfectly lined on the other side. That's just the pain of doing a first install. I imagine the second time around this will be perfect. And it's going to be pressed up against the butt of your light here as well. All right, so you do that for both sides. Once that's complete, I took off my bumper. Hard Rock Edition bumper here. There's 4 bolts on these hard rocks, so you can try to do it just removing the end caps, but I wouldn't do that. I would just back out 4 bolts that are right here, and then once you've backed those bolts out, you're going to want to remove this piece here. 2 bolts here, 2 bolts there. Remove that on both sides, and your bumper should just pull right off. Next up is the tower. So there's a passenger and a driver's side tower. These things here. Not this. This is the rear assembly. This is your tower. You'll install this piece here after you get your tower pushed up onto the Jeep body, the sheet metal. So I'm going to go below and show you. What it looks like underneath. All right. So you have washer plate here in the middle. That one. That's going to go on last. You're going to, this is part of the tower. This bolt here, this bolt here. Don't remove, there is a piece of metal that's in your tower assembly. Don't remove it, because that's what's going to help you. It's called butt plate. That's what's going to help you push this tower up against the sheet metal, and that's how it's going to stay for you to mark with tape a line here and a line here, so you can put it, this has an adhesive back, so you can put this on. Your tower's got a little there's a little point on the end of this piece. This is going to fit within a hole that's right in the middle there. So push your tower up. It will sit snug, and then mark, take back off, and then put this on, and then push back up your tower. Once your tower's up and it's securely on, then you can tighten this bolt and this bolt. Okay. After that, you're going to want to grab a bracket here, and then there's another bracket on the other side. Same thing. Line those up to the middle right here. You're going to put both of those on each side. You're going to line it up, and then you're going to have your washer plate here. So obviously you put the bolts here and put a bolt on that side, finger tighten them. Make sure you use the long bolts here. If you use the short bolt at the very end, you're going to be left with one bolt that is short. One bolt that's long, you're like, oh shit, where do I put this bolt at? And you're going to have to get back under the Jeep and reinstall everything just to take this small little bolt out and put the big bolt in here. So just make sure they're the longer bolts of all the bolts you have. After that's all said and done, you'll get your washer plate here. You'll put this on. You'll put your hex bolt up through the light well, and you'll take your light cover off, and then you'll install a nut plate at the base of your light well, and that's what this bolt is going to screw into. So screw that bolt in, finger tighten everything, Once you finger tightened everything, this is the order I use to put all the bolts. You're going to have a bolt here as well. This is the order that I use to tighten everything. First you tighten this one, then you tighten these ones, and then you tighten this small little bolt that's going to go here. But before you tighten anything, you need to make sure you're pushing up on your tower, up, and so this thing is pressed up against here the entire time, because if you don't, it's going to back out, and then you're going to have to redo everything all over again. So to make sure you don't make that mistake of tightening and having space in between here, so where you have to go back and just do it again. All right, so you just do the same thing on the other side. Other side obviously went in nice and smooth here. Once that's all done, you'll move to the front. You'll install the light bar, which is this thing here. I did it myself. I started on that side, put one bolt in, and then just walk the bolts up, finger tighten them. I put a sheet down here so I could do it myself. I just carried this up over the hood and then put a sheet down, and then I rested it here. And then I came over. Once you start tightening these ones, put the first one in, but you're going to have to make sure you pull back as hard as you can, or you can push. But the reason you want to push is because you don't want this to be up from this protective cover. So you have to push this light bar against this protective cover here as you tighten all these bolts down. So I finger tightened all those, then went back to the other side, and then firmly tightened them. Again, pushing up on that little rubber piece to make sure it's pushed against this protective cover here. Once you do that, your light bar is done. After the light bar, we have the rear assembly. The rear assembly is pretty straightforward. And the only trick here is you have some nylon bushings that are going to go inside this little housing here. Don't over tighten this, because if you do, you're going to crack your nylon bushings. So nylon bushing, hex bolt, your nut, and then some washers on both sides, and then tighten that down on both sides. Your isolators here, just tighten those barely, just to get them on there. Obviously, you'll do the same to the other side here. Once that's all done, then you can get a friend. It's going to be tough to do yourself. I had a friend, but then I realized, like, after we put it on there, I thought, oh, I could probably do this myself. Put the basket up, put a sheet down, put the basket up, and you're just going to put it up, and then you have some carriage bolts here. 2 carriage bolts. That's tough to see. My finger here is pointing to one, finger here is pointing to another one. 2 carriage bolts on each side. A thing to note as well, you're going to have thread C's. So anti-seize for all your threads and your bolts. You have to do that to every single one of them. Don't do that. Every single bolt, just use anti-seize, and you should be good. Once you get these bad boys installed here, you can go to the back. There's 8 bolts up top. I want to climb up here. So as you can see, we have a lot of anti-seize left over, so I need to clean all that up. I missed that when I washed it today. But 4 bolts on this side, 4 bolts on that side. Those are all pretty self-explanatory. It's an easy install for those. After that's good, everything should be in place. Then you can tighten them all down. I then installed the ladder. There's a hanger plate that goes here. Put the hanger plate on, then install the ladder to the hanger plate, then install your Allen bolts, one there and one there. Once of those are done, finger tighten all those, and then you're going to install your ladder here. Put a bolt in there, and then you want to make sure that your little rubber stopper here is pushed against, and you're going to get a little adhesive tape, so make sure you put that down as well. Okay, so once that's all done, then you can tighten your isolator handles here, push those against that wear plate. Just push them turn them so they're nice and snug against there. That's going to help push that wear plate in as well. After that's all said and done, you can install your wind deflector. That's super easy, no tips or tricks for that one. So I'd say overall, just make sure you apply anti-seize to all your bolts. Make sure you use the correct bolts, obviously all common sense here. I think that's pretty much it. Everything went on pretty easily. I think anyone should be able to do it in 4 or 5 hours if they watch this video to know all the tips and tricks. But if you all have any questions, just let me know. I'm happy to answer down below. Have a great evening.